invited a very special guest from town of Milton, and she is running the contest. She is trying to re-elect on Ward 1 as a councillor, and she's my guest today, Kristina Tesser Derksen. Welcome to the Toronto 360 TV.
Thank you so much, Aviv.
Okay. So, Kristina, it's really, I know that if people don't have the passion for serving to the people, right, this job is not for them, right? The people like me who are doing something else, right? But the people like you who are working every time for the cause of the peoples, trying to build the better society in the town, trying to take care of different values of the town, infrastructure, transit, and so many things. So you are a councillor from last 4 years in Ward 1, and first of all, my viewers want to know more about yourself. So please tell something about yourself as well.
Oh, certainly. Well, my name's Kristina, as you mentioned, and I was actually born and raised in Milton. I've lived there my entire life. I've never lived anywhere else. My parents live in Milton, so do all my siblings. I'm married to a small business owner, and he's had a computer IT business in Milton for the past 19 years now. I have 4 children, and they're living at home with me because they're going through school. They're young adults, and as you know, it's challenging right now to find affordable housing if you're just starting out. And I worked as a funeral director in Milton at McCursey Cooker Funeral Home on Main Street. And then I went to law school. I became a lawyer. So now I have a law practice and I have an office on Bronte Street in Milton. And I just really love my town. And the reason I decided to get involved in politics, it's something I had been thinking about for a long time, because all the professions I've had in the past have been helping professions, whether it's through funeral service, helping families, or through the law, helping clients find solutions to their problems, helping them navigate the legal system. And when my youngest child turned 13, I thought, okay, they're not so little anymore. I have some more time to give back to my community again, and I'm interested in politics. So I reached out to the regional councillor, Colin Best, and I wanted to ask him some questions about what the job entailed to figure out whether or not I would be good at it or if it was something I would be able to do. And after talking to him, I thought, yeah, I think I'm going to give it a try. So I decided to run in my first election in 2018, and I was successful, and I did defeat the incumbent at the time. And the past 4 years have been a really interesting experience. I've learned to look at Milton in a completely different way, to understand how the town works from a policy perspective, as well as being more involved in the community and the community building exercises that I really love, with the volunteering and the different boards that I sit on as well.
Yeah, I know that town also appreciates you and Samira Ali for having a woman there who are serving our community as well, and they are very proud of you as well, both of you. So, Kristina, tell me something, that what are some issues, especially your Ward 1, because I know that Ward 3 and 4, they have the lot challenges about the parking, but I myself live in the Ward 1, so I know that is not much challenges of parking there, because there's the old area, they have a better parking there. So what are some other issues in your ward that you think that people are really talking about?
Yeah, Ward 1 is a very interesting ward. Geographically, it is by far the largest ward in Milton. It's comprised of old downtown Milton, the original streets that were the original town of Milton, Town Hall, our historic downtown business district, as well as a very large rural area. Nassagaweya and Campbellville and Moffat are villages that are included in that. And there is a small portion of newer development as well. So it really is a mixture of so many different neighborhoods. So I would say as a councillor, it's been a bit challenging to balance all those interests, because there's so many different things that the different neighborhoods require. But the big issues in my ward, I would say, are probably similar to other wards. Maybe not so much the parking in the rural areas and in Old Milton. In the newer development, yes, we do get complaints about lack of parking. But there's a big issue out in the rural area with a quarry that a company has applied to do some blasting under the water table, which is of great concern to the residents in that area. And really...
Reed side, Campbellville, right?
Reed
That's the quarry you're talking about.
That's correct, yes. And actually the water there also serves a good number of downtown Milton homes and residences, which a lot of people don't know. So this is of great concern. And we've been working with residents. I've brought forward several motions to council to get different legal opinions and try to find out how we can get ahead of the application. Right now, it's quiet because an environmental assessment has been ordered, which is good, but that's something that the company has to start, and they have not started it yet. So we're getting a little anxious because we'd like to hear something, but on the other side, it's been 4 years and there is no quarry yet. So we will continue to fight. Other issues in the ward just include traffic and volume, pedestrian safety. We have lots of cyclists who use our rural roads. So it's very similar to what other wards experience. It's just there's a lot more of it in Ward 1 because it's so much bigger.
So people actually move to the town, right, Kristina, because they want to live not the traffic life, not the life which is so everywhere you for congestion or traffic. They move to the town. I myself is the reason why I moved to the town, right? So that because I think that I'm tired with the traffic and all those things. People want. So if the town become the same as the city, then this is the biggest challenge for the people, especially my area where people live. There are a lot of senior people are living. There are a lot of people who don't like, really. I talk with them, they say, it's too congested, man. I don't want to drive, right? So these are some challenges coming to you with the expansion of the town as well. So the number one issue, which is I see in Mississauga, because I live in Mississauga 16, 17 years. So I see that it was a very peaceful city. I think lowest crime, something in Canada, something like second number, third number, something like that. I remember still. But it's not no more. Peel become really the highest number of cars are theft there. There every day something is happen. Either knife, people are using the knife, or they are using the guns. Right? The issues are going on. So and our Milton is just on the edge of one side on Brampton, other side on the Mississauga, right? And definitely is not far. And the recent incident happened in your ward. Brother Shakil is guns down and is one of the labor who is working there. He also guns down, right? And they both died, right? And a very tragic incident happened. So how you see the security of the town overall, especially in your ward?
Yes, thank you for the question. And it was a shocking tragedy that happened, not just in my ward, Arif, but around the corner from where I live, about a 5-minute walk.
Yeah.
And in fact, I had been on Bronte Street the night before, and I had knocked on the door of a resident because I was canvassing for my campaign, resident right next to the mechanic shop. Okay. And the next day, I had heard something was happening, and I texted this resident, and I said, "What's going on? Are you okay?" And she told me what had happened. And then it started to hit the news, and very tragic, shocking, very scary. I don't blame people for being concerned. The first thing I did was I tried to get hold of my children to make sure they were safe, either at home or at work or school or wherever they were supposed to be, and then started to make phone calls to find out what had happened. I want to say it's a very rare incident, extremely rare. In fact, Halton region is one of the safest, I think, if not the safest region as far as crime in the country, for sure in the province. So I want to assure people that we still live in a very safe town. These incidents do happen, and unfortunately, we seem to be seeing more in the news about these types of things happening. So I think there's a couple ways to approach your question or your concern, is that there's an underlying systemic issue with either mental health or access to weapons or people not having the resources they need to deal with whatever they're going through. And then there's an issue of crime prevention. There are going to be people who do bad things, and we need to prevent. That's the best way to handle it. And if not prevent, then we have to, there has to be a deterrence, right? So I think in this particular situation, the suspect was killed. So there's no punishment beyond that, so to speak. But when we do have crimes like this happen, we have to show that we're serious about keeping our communities safe.
Yeah, because as you mentioned, there are underlying issues. It's not like a consular level issue, or it's definitely provincial as well as the federal issues are there as well, because guns have to be stopped from the south of the border, right? And we know that every day some guns are coming in, but so So our security forces or the system is somewhere, something is not doing good, right?
Yes.
So one of the observation, which is, Kristina, I have also from last 22 years living in this country. So I have one of the experience that when somebody do the traffic violence, you will get the ticket. Now the cameras are there, so you get the ticket anyhow. Either police is there or not. Or if there is some home violence happen between the husband and the wife, or something has happened, well, the police is very quick to react, or the system is very quick to react. But something has happened, if a car theft happened, anybody, the jewelry, there's some houses, people are taken away the jewelry, whole jewelry or money or something. I didn't see really the system is very successful on that, because I know my two neighbors, one is having the car theft and the other one have the jewelry, all the jewelry were taken. They will never recover those things. So this is where the system, somebody have to look into that how our security forces are working. With this our tax money, right? And I know that you are on the grassroots level, and the first few people go and contact and talk with the people, and people reach it out to you. So how you see this problem?
Yeah, it's a complex problem. And in fact, in the ward, you're talking about maybe more petty theft and crime and that sort of thing. There has been an increase in car thefts all over the place, right?
That's right.
And my car, in fact, was broken into, and somebody tossed everything around looking for different things in my own driveway. In our rural areas, we have a problem because there's not as much street lighting and there's not as much presence,
Exactly.
people milling around. So we have these incidents happening where people are coming from out of town and they're casing out properties, and then they'll go into the property and either rob it. So these issues happen. Downtown Milton, we've had a graffiti pandemic happening downtown. So the role of the local councillor, well, you're correct that it's a regional police, the region
exactly.
handles the police services. But as a local councillor, I need to make sure I have an open dialogue with our police services. I cannot direct police operations. That is up to them. But I can let them know where the problems lie. I can let them know where the hot spots are. I can let them know where we're having issues, really bad issues with speeders, or if there's graffiti hotspots, or I can let them know when there's rural incidents. And with that information that comes to me from my residents and constituents, I can condense that, give it to my contact at Halton Regional Police, and they do what they can to send officers out. They are spread thin. There's only so many police officers, and there's only so much that they can do in a shift.
That's true.
So we do
need more budget, definitely.
Yeah, I know, and it's expensive. It's costly to train officers and to make sure that they're safe and on the job. So I don't have a simple answer to that problem. I think what's important is that we keep asking the question and that we keep it at the forefront of the discussions. And when I say that Halton is the safest region in the province, that's great, but I don't want us to rely too much on that. I don't want us to get too comfortable and think, oh, crime never happens here, so we don't have to pay attention. We do have to pay attention, because before you know it, it'll be out of control if we don't keep a thumb on it.
One of the thing I think, so that's what I start living, so I know that. There is a immigrant community, right, which is coming all over the world, right, and there is the people who are living from long time, just like you, right, who are living there. There is something, and if a new person come in the street, right, I didn't see really a communication that's between the people, because once you start knowing each other, then I think so you start safeguard each other, right? That's my beliefs are there. So I think that's something on the consular levels or on those things. You have to make some neighborhood community council or whatever. Every state there is some neighborhood council, and propose them. They have to do at least couple of program of this during the summer, so people know each other. They come each other, right? So, and I know that some of the streets are doing that. That's a wonderful thing they are doing. But I think to integrate, especially in the town of Milton, because a lot of immigrant communities are there, it is they are living in their silos and everybody else living in their silos. And to be Miltonian is very necessary that we should integrate each other. What do you think about that?
Well, I think that's a great idea. I actually am the child of an immigrant. My father immigrated to Canada from Italy when he was a child. So he has lived that experience. And it's true that when people immigrate from a country, they tend to seek out members of their former country in the community, because there's a comfort there, common language,
Exactly.
customs and food, you know. So he lived that. Now, my mother, on the other hand, is like a 6th generation Canadian. So I have the experience on both sides, okay? I think it's wonderful to have people immigrating and settling in Milton. As a teenager growing up in Milton, there wasn't very much interesting stuff happening. So it's wonderful to have new people with different experiences, bringing new delicious food and different culture to our town. And I think it strengthens our town and makes it wonderful. So I think what you're saying, and I agree, is that we need to make newcomers feel welcome, and they need to feel that they are able to attend our different events and approach their counselor or approach their neighbors or whoever at staff at the town of Milton and ask, how can I get involved in this event or this community group? Volunteering is a wonderful way for people to get involved and get to know their community.
Not everybody's open to do that, you know, Kristina. People are, when they are shy, they maybe not speak well English, right, understand English, because that is their second language, so they are shy to do something, right? So sometimes the peoples who are just like you, the leaders, right? Leaders have to do something, right? And they have to bring the peoples together. So people not feel that they are sidelines or they are living in silos, other people are living in silos. That's my thoughts about all the 22 years of life. Although I am not like that, I reach it out to the people, I talk hello, and I really find it out that wonderful people are living around, right? So one more question that I want to ask. There are huge Milton escarpment is there in your town, and that's a beautiful sight. I always love that, right? And this is in the Ward 1 as well. And one of the responsibility of you is that you have to secure these green belt, as well as these huge escarpment. Fall colors are beautiful there. So what are some suggestions you already put into the council, right, as a councillor, and you have some plan or what you want to see? Because that's a beautiful place that where you can make that people come and see, right, and some sort of the business we can generate on those things, because this is beautiful thing, really. I tell you, I see very rare this type of beautiful fall colors anywhere else.
Yeah, it's very true. And the Niagara Escarpment, I grew up right in its shadow. So my parents still live there. It's the house, the road, a field, and the escarpment in front of them. So I woke up every day looking at the Niagara Escarpment as a child, and of course, it was just always there. Now as an adult, I recognize how very special and unique it is. It is a United Nations World Biosphere Reserve. We have the Niagara Escarpment Commission, which is an agency which oversees things that are happening with the escarpment. It restricts development on the escarpment. So when you talk about preserving green space or preserving the escarpment, there are agencies in place and organizations in place to ensure that the natural integrity of the escarpment is maintained. So that's why when we have things like quarry companies proposing to blast very close to the Niagara Escarpment, we get very concerned. So as far as development goes, we have lots of wonderful agricultural businesses in our rural areas, and some on the escarpment.
Yeah, I saw that.
And I think we have to achieve a balance, because we want to keep these businesses and these families and these landowners.
Beautiful Heritage Park is also
right,
there. Yes, I know
yes,
that. Yes,
Country Heritage Park, you're
on
right.
Chimen.
Yes, you're right. I grew up not far from there. So we want to bring people in to enjoy these features. But at the same time, we have to protect the natural features as well. So we are right now going through an official plan update. So an official plan is a very comprehensive document that the municipality has to produce that talks about land use planning for the entire town up to 50 years into the future. It's a big document. Ours right now is very outdated. It's about 20 years outdated. So it needs to be looked at. So we're in the process right now of reviewing it. Part of that review is looking at how we are going to plan land use for our agricultural areas, which would include the Niagara Escarpment.
Because what's the land is now Trimain, you can say on the west side of the Trimain, right? Where the escarpment is. That's the land is still there, agriculture, and some of the south side as well left, but most of that is already the real estate market already took over, and there is a housing there. So that's my really fear that in the future there are some compromises anyhow, the money needed by the town, this and that, and development pressure, political pressure, social pressure, and then we have to compromise, right, somewhere.
I can assure you, you will not see subdivision development on the escarpment in our lifetime anyway. There are plans to have a very large geopark as part of that land. So the development you're talking about on the east side of Tremaine, up in Milton Heights, which is near the 401.
Exactly.
That is happening. You won't see that on the west side of Tremaine. You have the Country Heritage Park, and the Niagara Escarpment Commission protects all that land there. So when I talk about agricultural businesses, I'm talking about places like the farms out in the rural area.
Farmer market, farms, so many things.
Where they can have a small market where they sell the produce that they make on the market. So, and maybe at some point in time they can have events, or they can rent space for events. But we would have to make sure that whatever happens there is very respectful of the natural environment, because once the natural environment is compromised, it's very difficult to bring it back.
Thank you, Kristina, and always is my pleasure to talk with you. What's the last message you want to give your Ward 1 voters, especially?
Number 1, Ward 1. I'd like to say thank you so much for listening, and I'd like to thank my gracious host as well. And, you know, Ward 1 is, I think, a special ward within the town of Milton. But we work together. All 4 wards work together to form the town that we are and the community that we are. I would encourage all the residents of Ward 1 and all wards to exercise their civic right to vote. It's important to be engaged in this process. At municipal level politics are where you engage with politicians more frequently than any other level of government, because we deal with roadways, with recreation, with park space, with waste management. So feel free to reach out to your councillor at any time and do your research into the candidates, contact them. We are responsive. We want to help you understand the process. And certainly for myself, anyone can contact me anytime. My cell phone, my email address, I answer all my own correspondence, and I look forward to hearing from everyone.
Thank you, Kristina, and nice to talk to you once again. And it's really my pleasure that first time you come to Toronto 360 TV, and I hope that the voters will listen to your talks, especially the immigrant community, because we have a lot of immigrant community who are watching our show as well. And thank you once again, and they will consider you on the Ward 1 as re-elect councillor.
Thank you so much. Thank you. My pleasure.
So Nazir, this is Kristina Tesser Derksen. She is contesting and try to re-elect as a councillor of Ward 1. I hope that I ask all the difficult questions to her and you get the answer what you want to listen.